Today we are going to discuss regarding net present value method of capital budgeting techniques. The net present value method is the classic economic method of evaluating the investment proposals. It is one of the discounted cash flow techniques, recognizing the time value of money. This method has a good quality of recognizing time value of money. Thus, correctly, that cash flows arising at different time periods differ in value and are comparable only when their equivalents present values are found out. The steps involved in the net present value method are: first, the appropriate rate of interest must be selected to discount cash flows. Generally, appropriate rate of interest is the firm's cost of capital, which is equal to the minimum rate of return expected by the investors to be earned by the firm on its investment proposals. Second, the present value of investment proceeds, cash inflows, and the present value of investment outlays, cash outflows, should be computed using cost of capital as the discounting rates. If all cash outflows are made in the initial year, then their present value will be equal to the amount of cash actually spent. Third, the net present value should be found out by subtracting the present value of cash inflows from the present value of cash outflows. Now, it is must to interpret the net present value. The interpretation of the net present value should be well understood. The positive net present value may be interpreted as the immediate increase in the firm's wealth if the investment proposal is accepted. It is equivalent to an unrealized capital gain. The capital gain will be realized if the expected cash inflows materialize. A second interpretation of the positive net present value of an investment is that it represents the maximum amount of firm would be ready to pay for purchasing the opportunity of making investment, or the amount at which firm would be willing to sell the right to investment without being financially worse off. So it is most significant and accurate method of techniques of capital busting. Now, it is must to know the merits of net present value method. The most significant advantage of the net present value method is that it recognizes the time value of money. Second thing, it considers all cash inflows over the entire life of the project in its calculation. Third is, it is claimed for this method that the ranking of projects is independent of the discount rate chosen for the analysis. Now, we are going to discuss its demerits, some demerits of net present value method. Net present value method is difficult to use. It is not easy to use. Second is the calculation of net present value proposes that the discount rate, which is usually the firm's cost of capital, is known. But the cost of capital is quite a different concept to understand and measure in practice. It may not give satisfactory answer. It may not give satisfactory answer when the projects being compared involve different amounts of investments. Next and last is, it may mislead when dealing with alternative projects or limited funds under the condition of unequal types. The alternative with the higher net present value may involve larger economic life to the point that it would be less desirable than an alternative having a shorter life. Now, we are going to discuss regarding the techniques of capital busting. Another technique of capital busting is internal rate of return method. We can say it IRR method, internal rate of method. It is another discounted cash flow technique which takes account of magnitude and timing of cash flows. The use of this method for appraising the investment projects was emphasized in formal terms for the first time by Joel Dean. Other terms used to describe the internal rate of return method are yield of an investment, marginal efficiency of capital, rate of return over the cost, time adjusted rate of return, etc. The internal rate of return may be defined as that rate which equates the present value of cash inflows with the present value of cash outflows of an investment. In other words, it is the rate at which the net present value of the investment is zero. It is called internal rate because it depends solely on the outlay and proceeds associated with the project and not on any rate determined outside the investment.